Who would you say the protagonist of the series is, if any at all?
Ivan Beck.
Who, if any, is the antagonist of the series? Or what?
Ivan Beck.
Who is Ivan Beck? For someone with such a massive influence on the Backrooms series and its overarching story, he often remains shrouded in mystery behind the scenes, only being occasionally mentioned or quoted here and there within certain videos. Some casual viewers don't even know he exists, unaware that he's the reason why the main events even unfolded in the first place. This video aims to explain everything about his character, from his upbringing, the main theories involving him, and his importance to the series. Ivan Beck was born on July 16th, 1931, to Antonin and Doris Beck in the small city Karlovy Vary, located in western Czechoslovakia, which is now known as Czechia or the Czech Republic. Now this is the part where I diverge into a minor history lesson. Trust me, it's relevant. For the majority of Ivan's early childhood, Czechoslovakia, including his hometown of Karlovy Vary, was under intense Nazi occupation. And immediately after the Czechs retook control of their country post-World War II, they began to deport ethnic Germans from their territory. You may be asking, why is this important? Let me explain. Beck is a traditionally German last name, and this key detail implies that the expulsion of Germans from Czechoslovakia is the sole reason why Ivan and his family ended up migrating to and settling in the United States, specifically the Midwest. Not much is known about Ivan Beck's early adult years, although it can be inferred that after arriving in the United States, he began to pursue further education, primarily revolving around physics and other forms of science. We know Beck is somewhat of a conservationist, as the main goal of Project KV-31 is to provide a solution to overpopulation and climate change, and this could have possibly been where his interest or concern in the subject began to develop. This leads into the next segment. This is where Ivan's story really begins to pick up. On August 2nd, 1972, in the video Overflow, Ivan signed off on and oversaw an experiment involving what was presumably an early version of the low proximity magnetic distortion system, predating the prototype that appeared in the video with the same name. Whether this happened under the authority of Async is currently up in the air. Before I continue on with what happens next, I think I should provide some context beforehand to tie everything together. The 1972 solar storms were a series of unusually powerful solar storms consisting of severely intense solar flare, solar particle effect, and geomagnetic storm components. If you don't know what any of that means, to put it simply, a solar storm is basically a disruption on the surface of the sun that discharges out energy and charged particles. These products often disrupt human technology after reaching Earth, such as satellites, GPS, radio communications, and power grids. The time frame of these particular solar storms perfectly overlap with Ivan's experimentation. I'm assuming you're beginning to piece things together now. The experimentation goes wrong due to the technology being disrupted and altered by the energy emitted by the sun. This is shown by the room gradually being engulfed in the bright green light that occurs throughout multiple videos in the series, possibly representing the creation of the complex, or the complex taking in information from the real world. Whatever the case for that may be, Ivan was still present in the room when the technology malfunctioned. About that. Ivan was severely injured by the accident, being inflicted with a major brain condition called post-traumatic amnesia. To simplify what that is, post-traumatic amnesia is a state of confusion and/or memory loss following a traumatic brain injury. There's two variants of the condition, retrograde and anterograde. Retrograde is the loss of memories formed before the brain injury, while anterograde is the opposite. Retrograde amnesia is what Ivan has. The majority of proof of these claims consists of the titles of the official Backrooms OST albums and the artwork made by Kane. The songs Post-Traumatic Amnesia, Ghost, Remember, and Old Objects in Quiet Rooms in particular. Something else to note is that the post-traumatic amnesia was not the only condition Ivan contracted from his accident in Overflow. It's heavily suggested and implied that Ivan is permanently blind in his right eye by the same pieces of artwork that I just mentioned, and the album cover of Backrooms' original score, Volume 3, which features a man, presumably Ivan, with his face obscured by a picture of the sun during the 1972 solar storms, taken by the Paris Observatory in France. The storm in the picture is specifically covering Ivan's right eye, which paired with his other depictions, leads me to believe this is fact. Like Ivan's midlife, we don't have much information to go on regarding the empty stretch of time between Overflow and the rest of the series. But what we do know is that this is when Ivan initially pitched a more solid prototype of the low-proximity magnetic distortion system to the Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, in 1982, presumably in an attempt to secure more reliable funding for the project. Shortly after this is around the time where Ivan relocated to San Jose, California, or somewhere else in the region, and joined Async as its vice director. Afterwards, he continued development of the low-proximity magnetic distortion system at the Async Research Institute, this time under the designation Project KV-31, named after his date and place of birth, Karlovy Vary, 1931. Like I said in the beginning, Ivan usually remains in the background for most of the series, only having the odd mention here and there, specifically in the videos The Third Test, Autopsy Report, Recording 014, and Overflow, the latter of which we just went over not too long ago. In The Third Test, Ivan is specifically named by the speaker when going over the initial unveiling and the start of Project KV-31, in which he announces it as a permanent solution to all storage and residential needs. In Autopsy Report, doctor performing an autopsy on the presumed corpse of Nicholas Bolton specifically directs a question to Ivan himself, asking where the specimen came from before the video cuts to black.
Mr. Beck, may I ask where this subject came from?
The doctor is soon fired after the video for being too skeptical and asking too many questions. Recording 014 contains Ivan's latest mention at the time of writing this video. Shortly after the reappearance of the assumed deceased Peter Tench from inside the complex, Clyde, a high-level Async employee, calls the venue Beck is currently staying at, informing him of the specifics of the situation. Unfortunately for us, the video only provides audio from Clyde's side, meaning Ivan's voice is never heard, although there are multiple pieced-together unconfirmed transcripts out there. Thanks to the community and the Kane's Facility Discord server, there are a handful of theories on Ivan's relevance and goals within the series, two of which being the post-traumatic amnesia theory and the IVN theory, both of which tie into his accident in Overflow. Let's get into both of them specifically. The post-traumatic amnesia theory primarily builds upon the injuries Ivan contracted during his early experimentation. This theory suggests that the memories Ivan lost due to his retrograde amnesia were quote-unquote lost within the complex, and his true motives for everything in the series are to regain the memories and experiences he lost by opening up the threshold. The IVN theory mainly differs from the post-traumatic amnesia theory by claiming that both Ivan and the complex are entangled in some way. Basically, a piece of Ivan's mind was separated from the rest of him during Overflow and grew independently until it became what we now know as the complex, implying that the complex is an objectification of Ivan's consciousness, and that Ivan is a personification of the complex itself. While that was a lot of important information to take in, it's important to remember that a majority of the lore involving Ivan is mostly based on theory and not fact. New theories are still being developed to this day, and the community has yet to reach a concrete consensus on who Ivan is and why he matters. Thanks for watching. If you'd like this and want to see more from me, make sure to like and or subscribe to let me know. If you have any suggestions on what I should cover next, leave them down in the comments. And lastly,
there is nothing more to be extracted.